Now, question number 5 here is actually on fractions, decimals, and you must know how to key in your calculator. So it will test you on your calculator skills, and finally on rounding to significant figures and decimal places. So without further ado, let's try practice question. Let's try question number 5a. So actually, before I do on 5a, right? So I want to ask you this. So half 1/2, how do you write it in decimal? So it's 0.5, right? Correct? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply this 1 by 50. Okay? And I'm going to multiply this 2 by 50. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by 50. And I'm going to multiply the denominator by 50. So 1 times 50 is 50. And 2 times 50 is 100. So this is still equals to 0.5, right? Correct? So 0.50, okay? That's how I'm going to write it, okay? So 0.50 is actually 50 over 100, which means that 0.28 over here will be equals to 28 over 100. So this has to be simplified because we can still simplify further. So 28, I'm going to divide by 4. So that gives me 7. And 100, I'm going to divide by 4. That gives me 25. And yep, we are done with this question by expressing 0.28 as a fraction in its simplest form, which in this case is 7 over 25. Okay, so 5b. Okay, so I would require you to try this before you look at my answer. So key in this in your calculator. Okay, you will get so you will get 1.905725184. So this is the value that you see in your calculator, right? Okay, so maybe just to do a quick recap for your sake is, so if we are looking at significant figures, right? Okay, so that's for part I. So let's do a quick recap. So if let's say it's 0.00315, okay? So if you are looking at rounding to significant figures, so in this situation, right, we do not consider the zeros at the start. Okay, we do not consider them. So the first SF will be the non-zero, which in this case, this is the first SF. And then this number 1 here is the second SF. Okay, so if I were to round this to 2SF, okay, I will look at the number 1. Okay, I look to the number to the right, which is 5. 5, I need to know I round up. So in this case, it will be 0.0032. Okay. Now, in case if let's say it's like 3.145, right? Then this will be my first SF. Okay, this will be my second SF, and then this will be my third SF. So in this case, right? Let's say we want to round to the third SF, right? So this will be approximately equals to, so the third SF, I look at the number, the digit 4 over here, and I look to the number to the right. Okay, it is 5, so I need to round up. So to 3SF, this is 3.15. Okay, so that is the recap on significant figures. So without further ado, for these two significant figures over here, so two significant figures over here, so this is the first SF, this is the second SF. So we need to look at the digit 9, and then afterwards we look to the digit to the right, is 0. So nothing much, we just round, we don't do any rounding. Okay, so this is just 1.9 because the number to the right of 9 is 0. So then when we round to two significant figures, then it's just 1.9. Okay, and then we indicate 2SF. Okay, so for part 2 over here, now decimal place is easier to remember. So when will it be the first decimal place? So this is 3.145, right? So the first decimal place is always the number after the dot. Okay, I want you to remember that. So the number after the dot will be the first decimal place. So in this case, the digit 1 is the first DP. The second digit here is in this case, the digit number 4 is the second DP. So if I were to round off to 2 decimal place, okay, this number 4 over here is the 2 decimal place, right? I look at the number to the right, it's 5, so we round up. So it's 3.15. So this is 2 DP over here, okay? So now that you know how to round to decimal place, okay? So based on this number, we are required to round to the 3 decimal place. So after the dot, the first decimal place, the second decimal place, and the third decimal place. So the number 5 over here, or the digit 5, is actually the third decimal place. So look at the number to its right, which is 7. So we round up. So in this case, it will be 1.906. Okay? So this is rounded off to 3 decimal place. And yep, we are done with this question on question number 5.